right, welcome to Your Time, Your Money, the show where your time is just as valuable as your money, and we know that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are excited today. We have a guest speaker.
Love guest speakers, Mark. It's my favorite time of the month.
It's always a great time when we have a guest speaker and we can cover different topics. And today's topic is actually women and investing. So we thought, who better than in our organization to bring in Cetera Investment Services CEO and President, LeAnn RUMMEL, who is joining us today.
Love it.
So welcome to a fellow July baby, by the way.
Oh, so, here we go.
Yes,
us cancers have to stick together.
I'll tell you what, fire and ice for a reason, LeAnn, okay? Fire and ice over here for a reason.
So, LeAnn's got quite an impressive bio. We'll touch some of the points on there, but, I think, for our listeners to understand is, when we talk about women investing, it's not just women moving forward in the workplace or solely just women investing dollars. It's also a career opportunity, which we'll get into a little bit here. But LeAnn, welcome. I know you're an Iowa State grad, right?
Yes, I am. Go Cyclones.
Cy the Cardinal, right? Is that what it is?
Got to know your college mascots. Know your college mascots. I only know 2 of them, and that's all that matters.
Although I do need to say, University of Iowa's number 2, and go Caitlin Clark.
Oh, there we go.
What an inspiration. Yes.
True. Now you have over 30 years in the industry. I think you started when you were 12, you were saying. And
that's being too nice.
That 30 years counts. I thought maybe we would lead off with maybe, you kind of just talking about you coming up through the ranks, like, out of college, you graduate, and, did you have finance in mind? I know you had always said your dad was an influence in your life, but, did you have finance in general in mind?
Well, I really did not have finance in mind, even though my dad was a national credit manager. But I'll never forget the day I was sitting at our dinner table, and my cousin and her husband, Jane and Barry, came over to dinner, and they said, "Hey, we have a great opportunity for LeAnn." And I think they thought I wasn't really present in the room. And they wanted me to be an intern, work 8 to 5, dress up in the summer. And I was 16, and certainly I had other plans. I wanted to spend time at the lake, the pools, play some softball. But my parents said, this is an incredible opportunity, and you need to take advantage of it. So I did. At 16, I started as an intern, working for my cousin's husband, Barry, and 3 other advisors. And then I became a sales assistant for these 4 advisors, all through high school and all through college. And what really made a difference for me is they were my sponsors and my mentors. Before I graduated from college, they had me work in every department of the broker-dealer. Wow. So I got to see firsthand the impact that advisors have on clients' life. So that was so inspirational. And that is how I found my way in terms of what I wanted to do in life. And, from there, the goal was for me to come back, be part of their practice. But instead, I was looking to get out of Iowa, do some traveling. So I became a wholesaler, and it was all about educating advisors on how to properly position mutual funds, annuities, and life insurance into a client's financial plan. So I had 10 states, was able to travel, see some new parts of the world, absolutely loved it. But then I decided I needed to be a financial advisor, but I decided to do it in a bank, in one of the largest banks in Minneapolis. Really love that team environment of helping to solve all clients' life cycle needs. And then our bank closed down. So overnight, I became an independent advisor, no benefits, all on my own at a very young age. It showed me there's going to be always ups and downs in life, but it also was the time that my career really took off. I was getting involved in a lot of different networking groups, associations, and one of my friends referred me to our firm here today. It was PrimeVest, now Cetera. And they offered me the best of both worlds. They said, you can be in management and you can also manage your clients' financial goals. And I said, all right, deal. So that's how I started. 32, it'll be 32 years in October. I came into Cetera. I was the first female executive, and worked my way up in a lot of different aspects of the business. I started with annuities and insurance, overseeing that, making sure we had best of breed products and solutions for advisors like yourselves. Then I was responsible for marketing, product management, due diligence, conferences. And then after, a long road, I became national sales manager and then eventually president and CEO. So it's been an incredible journey. I don't know where these 32 years have gone, but it has been so rewarding to work with, I think, some of the best people in our industry.
Well, I think touching, all aspects of our practice and what an advisor does, what back office does, has its experience itself.
That's,
right?
I mean, that's quite a story. I mean, you talk about like knowing your ship, right? Like you have done every job that there is to do on the ship, right? So that and quite a span. But I do like the part where you lost your gig at the bank and there was some adversity there, right? And to be honest with you, LeAnn, when I meet women in investing now, I feel like adversity is what drives them to the conversation, whether it be a life event, a birth, a divorce, a marriage, something that happens drives that conversation. And I feel like that's what really sets the relationship in place to really help people for the future, So I do love that. I do love that piece of overcoming, because I feel like without that piece, the story just isn't as good.
Yeah.
It doesn't have as much teeth,
And the industry's moved, I think, a lot in that direction as well. I just ran some numbers. In 2022, only a little over 9% of Fortune 500 companies had women as a CEO.
Right.
In 2023, it jumped up to about 15%.
Yep.
But when you look at the dates of when that happened, the majority of women in the Fortune 500 that are CEOs happened since 2017.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, it's encouraging to see, because they're, in any industry, it's encouraging to be able to work your way up through. And that's the same whether it's us as advisors in our individual practice, right?
Yeah.
To own our own practice, so to speak, or at the corporate level, or whatever the industry may be.
Well, I mean, LeAnn, I want to dig in on something you said during your story, which I thought was amazing. In that time frame, I want you to talk a little bit about the relationships you built with the people that really accelerated you up that ladder, right? Because I mean, I'm super proud that you are who you are, and that I get to follow in your leadership path. So, and the relationships that I'm making right now with Mark and with other advisors, with other sales assistants, I want to know what was that. There was got to be a key relationship there somewhere that turned the tide.
In the same context, you build relationships and you bring those people with
you, bring them with you,
because they're a good quality of.
Because the same is true for football, right? I mean, I'm an NFL guy. I know, like, you look at all the coaching stats, right? This was a Bill Walsh guy. This was a Mike Tomlin guy. This was a Belichick guy, right? So I want to kind of know that. Like, I want to know under the hood, LeAnn, like, who's the person and what was the difference maker for you?
Well, it does date back to when I was 16. My cousin and her husband, they just had strong, desire to welcome me into this business. They had confidence that this was the right path for me. Now, I didn't at that time. I mean, I didn't know the difference between a stock or a bond, but I think I'm living proof that you don't need to have knowledge coming into this business. You just have to have the right support network, the right sponsors and mentors, and anyone, including women, can excel behind or beyond their wildest dreams. But, as I reflect back, I think every successful woman, I would say every successful person, you have a tribe. You have people that are going to be there to support you every step of the way, but also challenge you. And I think that was the biggest learning. You can't have yes people all around you.
Yeah,
You
don't
gotta
be a
have
yes man.
people that
That's why I tell
are
you
going to
no all
help
the time.
you
Seriously.
raise your standards, raise the bar in terms, of what you can accomplish. So, but Barry and Jane Ernst, that is my cousin and her husband, they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And then those 4 male advisors, there were no women, female advisors among the 100 that were there. And I found that really interesting because most of them were in a support role.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, they were my biggest advocates, fans, and what I call today allies. And I would not be here where I am today without them. But I think as you evolve through life, it's a journey and you continue to meet people along the way. And you want to always make sure you have people on your path that are going to help you become your best self.
Right.
And those that create some negative energy, you're gonna have to obviously put on your big girl pants and deal with them. But at the same time, that's not who you're really gonna surround yourself with. But that's what the cool thing about our business is. It's a people business. It's a relationship business. And when you look at women in general, they have that innate sense of empathy. They love building relationships. They love collaboration, teamwork. And so I think that's why we're finding, more and more women finding this career attractive. It has a lot of flexibility. You now can be remote. I mean, you guys remember the day that we all felt like we had to be in the office until COVID. I mean,
Right.
COVID
That changed
changed all
everything.
of our world, but
Yeah.
for the better. Because now we can communicate in all different mediums, make sure, especially with clients, we're meeting them where they're at. Some like to meet with us face to face, others like to meet, over the phone. So again, I think it's opened up a world of opportunities for many more people to look at this noble profession we're all in.
And what would you say, kind of, I know some of the answer, but what would you say from a Cetera standpoint, how we're poised to attract women, whether it's a career change, whether it's right out of college, somebody that already knows they want to do finance, or maybe even perhaps, somebody that never gave thought to finance, like myself, I didn't have a financial background technically.
Yes.
I had a business major, but, came out of college in the restaurant industry. So, but there's people in all walks of life coming through that. What would you say in your mind is Cetera's biggest draw for maybe our listeners to really, go and check us out online and consider us as a career opportunity?
I think that's a huge question, and that's important because we do want more women advisors in the network. I really believe that, and I think there's a certain touch that as a guy I don't have that I want on our team and in our network.
It's called empathy, Matt.
Empathy. I struggle
Empathy,
with that
yes.
a lot. Like, suck it up.
Yeah, well, I personally am committed. I want to make sure I am shattering the glass ceilings and paving the way for future women, whether they come in as leaders or advisors, to join our community, because it can be one of the most rewarding careers, but give everyone the flexibility, the career opportunities they're looking for. But yes, recruiting on campuses is critical, but I'm a big believer. If someone wouldn't have tapped my shoulder at 16, I'm
Right.
not sure I would be here. So one of the things I'm most passionate about is trying to reach women at a younger age. And so we've joined forces with different associations. One I particularly like is Rock the Street Wall Street. And that is really focused on educating girls in high school on what this profession could mean to them. Not only
Financial literacy.
monetarily, but again, just being part of something that's making a huge difference in people's lives. And I think that's the appeal.
Right now, financial literacy is probably one of the least focused things right now. Is high school, especially. I've been pushing hard for it. That's why we do our show. That's why we do Your Coach Your Money. But the financial literacy piece, LeAnn, is so important. I was talking to the mayor of Schenectady last night, and we were having this conversation about financial literacy in school, and you know, kids not knowing what a checkbook is, or how taxes work, or you know, anything like that. It's crazy.
Well, to your point though, you know, not knowing what a checkbook is, that conversation's been going on for way too long.
Absolutely.
It's going
Right.
on for decade
100%.
after decade after decade, and there really hasn't been any legislative or community.
Florida's on the
programs.
cutting edge. Florida pushes hard for financial literacy. That's one of the few states that does push for it. I can say that for what I understand.
Yeah. So, you know, LeAnn, maybe mention a little bit about, you know, I know Cetera has the WIN initiative for women. You know, maybe talk a little bit about that, and you know, kind of the thought behind establishing it, what it is, maybe where you see it going in the next, you know, 5 years or so.
Yes. Well, I think both of you know, I have the distinct privilege of being the executive sponsor of our advisor-led Impact and Inclusion Council. And this is 11 advisors who are focused on creating diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging across all of our Cetera communities. And it also means not only bringing in more diverse talent, but helping underserved clients and the markets in which they're in. So part of that is we have an employee resource group and an advisor resource group that are focused on helping women clients. And we are now set to have our third annual Connect to Impact conference coming up in Atlanta in this fall. And it allows women to bring their full selves to this meeting, empower each other, share best practices, share how they may be helping their female clients, and certainly, you know, spending time to focus on empowering one another. It is a great support group to really just help each other learn and grow. And I think that's a big part for all of us in this business. That ongoing learning and professional development is so important, so that we can make sure we are most relevant to our clients. And then the other thing I'll say is I'm in the Bank Insurance Securities Association, and 7 years ago, when we formed our women's group, we had 30 advisors in that meeting. And now I just came back from that conference. We had a waiting list and we had 250 women
That's awesome.
in that event. So absolutely amazing. I mean, we have a lot more work to do, but I also like to celebrate the progress we're all making.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, I think those strides are important. I know for us, we've done you know, women appreciation breakthrough awards in the past, and
Yeah.
and you know, the first year, you know, we were at a handful, and I think the other year we were at 150.
Yeah, the first year we had about 40
of
people, and then
professionals.
the next year was 150. You know, applications, and it was wonderful. So
Yeah, it was great. You know, I think switching gears a little bit, you know, to the personal finance side, you know, one of the things that, you know, obviously we see as advisors is, you know, whether it's the wife or the husband, you know, in a household, we always encourage them both to meet and sit down together.
right.
But usually, you know, you find that there's one that does all the finance.
Usually there's a CFO and a CEO.
You know, which is never
Usually.
good either way, right? You know, if the woman's doing it or the man's doing it, you know, it's not good either way. You know, what would you say to, you know, just the average person out there that's investing, hopefully through our group here at Cetera? You know, what would you say to that, you know, households, women in the household that either are a career professional or a stay-at-home mom or whatever it might be, about taking, you know, more ownership, I guess you would say, of the financial aspect in that household?
Well, I think it's absolutely critical, you know, to be engaged, to be involved, because, you know, women face some unique retirement challenges. I mean, you have the pay gap, you have living longer, you have juggling life demands. And I think it all requires you to take an active role and continue to be educated through your advisor in seeing how you can really fulfill your goals and dreams. It's funny, I was just reading this study from it's Allianz's latest Women, Money, and Power study. And it said women investors are in the driver's seat. Women are more financially independent overall, but uneasiness about retirement planning remains. So again, I think we're seeing movement in that women are doing more in terms of educating themselves. I look at 33% of women are currently working with a financial advisor. And I also read that what women want most from advisors is a holistic approach to financial wellness that is built on transparency and clarity. And I know that's how the two of you operate. It's how I operated as an advisor. But 70% of women say that they would refer their financial professional to a friend or relative because they really do want that strong relationship. And when they like what they're receiving from their financial advisor, they're more apt to refer. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity for you and other financial advisors to really focus on the women's market. I mean, it's only a 10 trillion market out there today.
Only 10
Only 10
trillion.
Yeah. But
Well,
you know,
Ironically, that's about the goal Matt and I have as far as
that's where we want to be.
AUM.
Well, I heard one stat that it really stuck with me a couple years ago. Essentially, it was women are outliving men in retirement, right? And I think the stat was that women currently in their late 60s to early 70s will inherit the majority of assets from husbands, right, in the next 5 to 7 years. So the primary asset holder will be women age 69 to 75. Those people will hold the majority of the assets in the world, right? And I saw a great article. What college was it? So somebody donated $1 billion of her husband's inheritance from Berkshire Hathaway stock to the college, so all the students' tuitions are free forever, perpetually. I can't remember the name of the college though.
I'm gonna send my daughters there.
It was they're free. It's free college education forever, and it's because of inheritance that went to a trust fund that now pays for all these kids' education, which I think was amazing. So pretty cool.
it is amazing. And speaking of that, it says by 2030, American women will manage at least 30 trillion.
30
So
trillion.
to put that into perspective, that's more than the GDP of the US. So we've never seen this kind of change in our lives or our grandmother's lives. So the good news, it's just continuing to be enormous potential for us to help women with their overall, financial needs.
I think overall, when you look at just finance in general, it is a disservice that if you are not reaching out to, individuals, whether it's woman or man or different demographics and stuff like that, because everybody needs financial advice.
Yes.
And it shouldn't always be
Yes.
boiled down to, do you have XYZ dollars or not? Because,
Right.
that client that's putting away $50 a month is your next millionaire.
Correct.
If
Yes.
you're giving good advice, and the big if that I always tell clients is if you're paying attention and listening.
Yeah.
Because my best clients are well off because
They
they've
listened.
taken the advice.
They've listened, yes, and then they're not fighting back or shouldn't. Oh, well, I have this other crazy idea I want to get into. I said, well, hold on a sec. Why do the crazy idea when get rich slow? You know what I mean? Like I love that Warren Buffett quote, right? Get rich slow. No one wants to get rich slow. Everyone wants to get rich fast, right? So
It's the lottery approach.
it's the lottery.
It's,
and
how-
Esley said that a while ago. I'm like, what is? Then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
How little can I put towards something with the maximum risk?
Basket reward. Yeah.
Right? Right? Because then that's why you get the questions. How are my investments doing? Like,
Right. Yeah.
What's the return? It's like, okay, well, we're not going to average, 30% a year, double or triple the money. So, now you had said, the Rock School,
Rock the street. Yeah.
Rock the Street. Is that a nonprofit?
Yes.
It is. Okay, excellent. And
Yeah, it's amazing, amazing organization. And, as you follow that organization, you'll see they're bringing in more and more high schools across the United States. And we all can be involved too, because they look for people like you, like me, to kind of come in and tell our stories to these, younger girls so that they can be enlightened on what this, could mean, not only them for them professionally, but we all have the advantage, the more we know about financial services, the better we can manage our own future
Yeah.
and our goals and dreams. So it's an amazing organization.
we deal a lot with local charities and other charities that we
Yeah.
contribute to, and I think in wrapping up the session, I think we'd be remiss if we don't talk a little bit about Cetera Cares, and maybe bring up that a little bit so that our listeners can understand that when Matt and I are here and on shows, we've held up donation checks to
Big
charities
check.
and stuff
Big
that
check.
we the big Happy
Yes.
Gilmore check. But I think it's important that our listeners and clients hear about what Cetera does behind the scenes as well,
Because we do a lot. I mean, Cetera does a lot.
when we go to a conference and there's a QR code up on the huge screen, it allows individual advisors and teams to click on it and donate for causes. So
Right.
maybe LeAnn, talk a little bit about Cetera Cares.
Yes, I'd love to. It was born out of the desire to help enhance lives in the communities where we live, work, and visit. So the program is led by our financial professionals. So it's another advisor-led program, and it's utilized to respond to the tragedies and catastrophes that we encounter in our communities. So over the last 11 years, Caring Cetera has raised more than 2.5 million to fulfill our mission. So some of the examples, I mean, we all remember the tragic fires in Maui.
Yeah.
We had financial advisors and financial institutions. Their lives were impacted. The client lives were impacted. So we pledged money and aid to those over in Maui. I would say we've funded Angels of Americans Fallen. There's been a lot of different, military organizations, that we've supported as well. But what I'd like is it's financial advisors working together to help one another, and we all come together as a community to fund this great organization so that the money's there when our advisors and our friends need it most in our business. So very, very proud of that effort. It continues to grow. And certainly I'm very appreciative of those that are involved in the Caring Cetera, as well as our diversity inclusion efforts. We could do this from the top of the house here at Cetera, but as we know, it takes a village to really move efforts forward in an impactful way. So we want Caring Cetera, inclusion and impact to really be the DNA that we have here in our home office, and certainly in all the branches where you two reside as well. And I got to tell you, you guys do some amazing things in your community. So hats off to you, because I know that's making a tremendous difference in your community.
Well, we appreciate it, and
We get a lot of support. We get a lot of support from each other and
Yep.
from our branch. So
yeah, which is always exciting. What would be the best way if a listener or a viewer or a client wants to check out a career opportunity within Cetera? Would that be directed right to the Cetera main website?
Yes, yes. And please check us out. As you guys know, we're growing. So we're always looking for more financial advisors, sales assistants, and certainly individuals to join our home office here in sunny Minnesota. Believe it or not, we have over 60-degree weather here in Minnesota today. So people that think it's ice cold here this time of year. Not the case.
I was in Florida 2 weeks ago, and it was 40 to 50. So who would have thought I would have had
Give me
to go to
some,
Minnesota
give me some
to get-
snow, man. I'm a snow guy. I want some snow.
Well, we thank you so much for coming in today. Our listeners can always find ourselves, Iron Tree Financial, at 43 British American Boulevard in Latham, New York, 12110. You can reach us at 844-444-YTYM for your time, your money. And as always, it's your time
And your money.